come back down on the outside. So come on back around and we'll get high, so high. And we won't come back down. Not this time, we're not coming down no more. Standing on our own, together this time, amen. You traveled so far just so you could lose that love that breaks. No matter where you are, that broken heart you take. And it seems that all this time, what you needed you left behind. So come on back home, anytime you can come home, and we'll get high. We're gonna get so high. We won't come back down. No, we're not coming back down no more. We'll be standing on our own. We'll be standing on our own. Together this time, amen. We'll watch the world go by. Oh, we'll watch the world go by. Then we'll come back down just to get high. We'll come back down just so we can remember what it feels like to get high. We're gonna get straight. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm trying to grasp a memory that's not been engaged for a long time, but well, I guess the idea of the Lonely Room tapes, um, I think, somewhat stems from the idea, or I guess for me personally, just listen to music on the radio, whether it's radio shows on Sunday or coming home from church, and or just just listening to music, Pink Floyd, The Wall, over and over in my room as a kid. Shoot baskets in the driveway, listening to music, whether it be Public Enemy's Fear of a Black Planet, or just the radio, just music playing, and my dad, working outside or working on the house and stuff. They were always remodeling the house or repairing the house we were living in, and there's always a radio playing some music. And so I think for me, Lonely Room doesn't necessarily mean a place where you're by default missing other people, but I think it's that idea where just that place where you're by yourself. And a lot of times for me at least, music is that thing that hangs out with me in the space by myself. Some people might read books or do other things to occupy their time, but I listen to music and think. I think that's the thing about music. It kind of allows you to participate, but then it's kind of like, sitting on the beach in California, in Southern California, and just watching the waves come in. There's a way you're participating in the moment, and you're paying attention to it, but it also allows you kind of just to release and be still for a time in that moment. So I think the Lonely Room is more, kind of paying an homage. I don't even like using that word so much. But just, that, let alone as an adult, the time I've spent practicing music and writing music, and most of that has been time by myself. Um, and I guess, maybe the idea of the Lonely Room tapes too is, I think the album itself has a lot of quiet ness to it, in the sense that it's a pretty clean production, from the fact that there's no real overdubs. It's basically the band playing live through the tracks once, pretty much as a general rule. So it's not there's just a as a start. If it's an album that starts a person's career like it did for me, I think it's more one that just kind of clears the ground and doesn't tell you what's coming per se, doesn't tell you what came before. It just kind of, remember reading this book, Red Rose, years ago, and one of the aspects that stuck out at some point to it when she was journaling about, her time there as the house was being built and such, and the land, and there was something about that where they went and they had to clear the ground before they could build the house, and I think that clearing the ground is just kind of making preparations for, or and because at that point it's not even setting a cornerstone yet, or even setting the foundation. It's more of just kind of, and I don't know, it's a hard thing to come up with on your own, because it wasn't planned per se, but it was kind of understood shortly afterwards, that you know, even like the color, there's a certain silence to that cover. You look at it and it just kind of, almost like a monolith, I guess, in 2001, you know, where there is no movement, there is no noise radiating. It's a place there, and you kind of, maybe you turn to look, you turn to listen, but that's the Lonely Room Tapes. It's just the turning. It's just the turning to, I guess. So I don't know. I do like the idea of the monolith, and that's where the cover has the, you know, kind of my Fender amplifier, DeVille Deluxe 212 amplifier sitting there, and it's that monolith idea where it's a quietness that kind of draws to itself. And so that's almost like a clearing of the ground. It like draws the moment to it. It's like, now the ground is cleared, now what comes next? And I think that album is just the drawing to. It doesn't tell you what comes next, even though down the road what does come next probably makes sense, and you can see it in there if you knew what comes next or came next. And I think that's also the idea of the time we do spend alone. I mean,
at the break of day, dive on in. Listen for the sounds and dial in. There's something about the Valley of the Blind, where they can't see but they just want to close. They want to shade their table and the walls keep coming in. The words awaken, the words in my head just finally settle in. They settle in. We are doing time, and we
I mean, and we do get lonely. I mean, a person gets lonely when they're alone. I mean, they not always alone lonely, but you know that happens. But I think loneliness happens when you're with people too. So we move in and out of that as people. But the time we spend alone, whether it's like a basketball player on a basketball team, shooting hoops on their own, or whatever we do as a person to make ourselves better at whatever our craft is or our life in general, that alone time is what's preparing the ground for us to spend time together with others. And then also, if there's any opportunities we come across to move forward or to go, you know, to a greater depth in some aspect, then, you know, you've kind of done the preparation, so now you can, you know, move forward. And so I think that was kind of a big time of or big aspect of the time of silence after that album.
Sitting